Universities, because your education area, you have a lot of information and you provide that freely available. So if I'm a hacker, I can pretty much go to your IT web homepage and pick up loads of information about who normally sends emails about IT security, what your network's made of, and what sort of systems you have. Well, I can start crafting my attack based just on your own website. So once I start my attack from there, I can, again, I'm sort of one of those people, and I'm sure some other people here that can sit here. I've got tools on my laptop that can pretty much get access to all of your phones and your email attacks here if I wish to. And there are a lot of people out there, so be cautious, and that's what I'm trying to say. Don't trust anyone in cyberspace. So network information, that's IP addresses, that's subnets and things. Host information, that's, are you running Windows servers? Is it Unix, Linux? What versions and variants of the drivers are you running? Because they may have vulnerabilities. And if you're not signed up to an organization like the South African Cyber Agency, you probably aren't getting the updates on the issues and the threats out there for your university. Security policies. Well, sometimes you actually tell me you have a 8 or 12 digit password, so I'll just put my little hacking brute force hacker to 12 digits. Whatever it is that you tell me in the information you provide. The human information. If you go to a KIPI website, you should never find any private information. We don't put our staff email addresses on there. We don't put the staff names on our website because they can be used to create an attack to attack us. So yes, my information is publicly available, but I'm quite hopefully a bit more switched on than some people, and my staff hopefully, because we train them just like we're training and trying to train yourself every day. So what do we do to get into a network? Well, it is quite easy. If I'm trying to hack in, the first thing is obviously I've got the internet. I find a target host network, maybe it's University of Johannesburg, and I might be able to find a target host like University of Johannesburg website or something else I can find that's on your website, your personal websites I can pick up. What I'm trying to do, because I've got no access, I'm unprivileged, I'm just a web browser. What I'll be trying to do at that time was look for vulnerabilities because I want to get privileged access here. If I get privileged access here, it allows me to look at the host inside. Once I'm there, I'm again trying to get access to the next system. So your website probably gives me port 80 access. If I can hack onto port 80, tunnel my SSH through your port 80, take advantage, I can then start sending attacks from your web server to another machine in the university. And the way that pretty much works is, I've come in on port 80 to the website, I've gained privileged access because I've managed to exploit a vulnerability because you've not updated that website or you've made a mistake in the configuration. I can then start looking at a target host, perhaps as a user, or another server that's only got SSH, maybe it's your main admin server, and I want to get access to that. So I'll be using this machine here to hack that machine there. So it becomes very difficult for you because you'll be blaming that web server when really it's me sitting in England in my office causing all that mayhem. I'm not saying it's easy because sometimes it isn't. If you're updating your systems and you're doing a good job, then you are going to make that a real difficult task for people to get access. Mistakes. Universities have large and complex networks. You have lots of users and demands from academics, etc. User errors are common. We all make mistakes. You're typing a long script, you're typing a configuration, you type somebody's name, you're probably going to get that wrong once in your life, at least once. Staff turnover can be very high. Some of you might want to go off, get more money somewhere else. You've got all that knowledge, got to train someone else. Again, mistakes start going up again. Theft of assets, laptops, bags, things are in the universities. People steal in universities. They steal in England, they steal here, they steal all around the world. And there's data leakage, where accidentally information is sent out or given to people that shouldn't have that information. We all make mistakes. And there's a lot of mistakes going on that cause issues, not just what you may do yourself. Right about now, NWA quarters in full effect. England, that you may have known, fell out of Europe last Thursday. That's a mistake, as far as I'm concerned. I voted to remain, but sadly, people voted to say let's get out of Europe. Now that's caused an issue for us as well in the cyber world, and I'll talk about that as well. But it happens all over the place. Other things that happen. So Brexit, an ideal for somebody to start hacking other people because we're in turmoil. The financial markets in England are dropping. The pound's dropping against the rand. My trip's got more expensive this week while I've been standing here talking to you. So why not, if I'm a criminal, start sending emails to my customers, pretend ones, about banks. Start threatening them, scaring them, putting information in, getting them to give me information. If I'm a retailer, start telling my customers, oh, due to Brexit, blah, 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 please enter your bank or your other details because we need to update your records. Good time to get people in a weakness because Brexit's already confusing them. And I'll send hyperlinks to fake news or pictures and things to try and get people to click on things. It's an easy time for me to attack. And that same thing happens in South Africa too. You know, you had President Zuma fired his financial minister. That caused a bit of mayhem. And I'm pretty sure criminals took advantage of that event in the cyberspace too. Because if I was a criminal, I would. So it's not just your mistakes, it's things going on all around you that people are going to take advantage of. So you need to be aware of everybody else's mistakes too. It's a hard task. You're never going to get it always right, but just got to be a bit more aware of what happens. So cyber security, what can you do? Well, basically cyber security is a body of things that we're actually trying to protect, whether it's a process, whether it's a bit of hardware. It's something you do, something you use. It's a way to limit the damage in attack space. And basically in a computing context, security means cyber security. Cyber security has taken over pretty much the main title for everything. Simply put, any software, hardware, or action that does the following. It protects your personal or your organization's networking assets, programs, or data. It protects your personal or workplace's sensitive information, usernames, passwords, and any customer or student information. And it also protects your personal workplace finances. You've got to be careful. That's what we're trying to do with cybersecurity. Who is responsible for this cybersecurity? Well, it's you. Again, it's all on you again because you use these systems. So why is this your concern? Have you ever heard of the Locky ransomware virus? Some of your universities, I think, have been affected by it. I've seen a fair bit of it. So pretty much Locky, what it does, it comes to you in an innocent looking email. It can also be on a website as well. You can click on and it says, please download this file. Maybe it's an Adobe update it tries to pretend to be or something. But the idea is it encrypts all your data, your pictures, your videos, your office documents, scripting, code development you may be working on. And if you're linked to a file server, it will also start encrypting that file server. So common drives will also be affected. And anything else you can just get hold of. It's pretty nasty, really. So what does that mean to you? Well, you personally, it means your family pictures, because I'm sure you have family pictures on devices. We all do. That means they get disappeared, they get lost. You can't have them till you pay money for it. All locked up. You have to go onto Tor, pay them $350 or Bitcoins or whatever it is you have to pay. The good news is you can get it back, but it's cost you some money and a lot of inconvenience. And what else does it mean to you? Your movies, your home movies. I know a lot of you like collecting streaming movies and things that you might collect off the file sharing sites. The cat, well, actually, that's one of my guys. He created the slide for me. That's his cat. But again, it gets locked and you lose that unless you pay for it. And if you don't do it quickly enough, the price goes up and up and up, and eventually you can't afford it anyway, and you've lost the data. And there's many different ones out there. Locky, Zboot, Zeus, Cryptovirus, Reviton, CryptoLocker, CryptoLocker F, CryptoWall. There's loads of them. They're making them all the time, and they're making them better and stronger, and sometimes they actually don't even want you to pay them money. They just want to annoy you for the hell of it. So it's people being a bit awkward for you. And that's just a few of the threats out there in the old cyberhood. So phishing, ransomware, cross-scripting, how I access some of your websites if you're web developers. If you haven't quite updated it, there's ways in there. We do scanning, we do distributed denial of service attacks. And funny enough, Janet, which is the Joint Academic Network in England, similar to Tenet over here in South Africa, that got hacked by a big denial of service last year, and pretty much every university was off the air because it hit all their DNS servers. So it affects quite a few people. And there are ways to get around it, but sadly it costs money and you need budgets to start protecting this network. So, you hear what I'm saying. Fine, fine, fine. You get it. You won't click on any email attachments, yeah? Or open things you don't expect. But unfortunately, as I said, many times you don't have to click on something to be a victim. You've all surfed the internet. I won't ask you to put your hands up because I know you've all surfed the internet. Most of you have done some type of shopping on the internet. Some of you may also have created accounts on the internet shopping accounts, because they seem quite nice. They've even got the nice little padlock so it looks secure. But you don't know how secure that data is once you've given it to them. Same as your banking. We've all done online banking. And because you're doing online banking, you need to make sure that it is your online bank you're using. And if you're not taking precautions while you're surfing the internet, this is like driving that car with the roof down through Johannesburg late at night. You are at risk. Contracting a virus or malware, having your identity stolen. Now, you may think, what's that really going to do to me? Well, when you go for a mortgage, you try and buy a car, somebody already has bought a car in your name. And you have to pay for that one while you're trying to buy a new one, while you're trying to explain it wasn't you. It affects your organization's reputation. South African universities have a fantastic name, but if you started getting the name for the one that gave all the user and student information out and caused problems, then it will affect your university, specifically if you're trying to do IT security at a university. And you don't want to lose personal or university data. And you don't want sluggish or dysfunctional machines, because if your laptop is very sluggish and very dysfunctional, then it's got malware on it. Yeah, something has affected it. And obviously you get repair bills, and that may be you take your computer to get repaired, or if you're an organization, you pay Kipu to come and repair it. We're not that expensive, but we can do a lot of things. And security breaches, they're just horrible things out there, just out there to risk you. So what can you do? You can be quite bright on this. We can do a lot to help ourselves. The first one is this password security, which I mentioned earlier. You generally can't choose your usernames. Most of the time it's your email address, but a bank may give you a username. The university probably gives you a username. But your passwords, you own that password. Change it. If you don't make a sensible password, you're just giving people access to your network and your device. So things, make it minimum of 12 to 14 characters, use upper and lower cases. I don't know if the universities have policies and make you do it. They should. If you're running an IT system here, you should make users change their passwords regularly. I know it causes problems to the help desk because people always forget their password. So also, when you're thinking about your password policy, come out of a system so they can reset it themselves with information they knew when they created the account to start with. But you need to change your passwords. Kipu, we force all our staff to change their passwords every 30 days. And that way we know we're going to break the chain if they've used that password on something else as well that may be compromised. So generate them randomly where feasible, but it becomes hard to remember those things. But do not write them down on a bit of paper. And that's the problem with security, because I'm saying make a complicated password, but don't write it down. Yeah? There's ways of keeping things. Avoid keyboard patterns. Don't use table, dog, your wife's name, your girlfriend's name, your husband's name, because if I know you, I also know that name too. So I can use that to hack into your account. Avoid using information that's publicly known. Usernames, relatives, pet names, special dates. Avoid using the same password twice. And this is important because why don't use that password on other devices or other accounts? So if you've used the same password you use at university, on let's say a retail shop, you also go shopping quite regularly. Well, let's say that got hacked and compromised. Well, then they've got access, if they've got your email address, to any other accounts you may be using. What would happen if your Facebook credentials were the same as all your other website accounts? Everything starts getting shared. Be cautious, make them different. One password for each online account should be the way forward. It's pretty hard. I have a phrase that I use, and I create a password from this. So where it says that's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, and this isn't my password, just want to say that. I will use the first letter of a phrase I know, and maybe change some of the letters for numbers, but I'll use that all the time, and I may just have a slight variation on the different websites I use. But it makes it a bit harder, but it also makes it easier for you to remember if you've used that phrase. But also, there's another way. Another option for remembering login details is not to remember them at all, which might be the preference. And you can do that by using a password manager. There's lots of freely available password managers that will encrypt all of your passwords for you, and you can just launch them. You only have to remember one password then, and it remembers the others. But it is important that you have a complex password for that one password that you use, not all of the others. So, other things that we do, conscious I'm going through time, do not trust free Wi-Fi hotspots. Do not trust them at all. You don't know who runs them, and you don't know who is on those. You know, again, I can sit on a free coffee shop uh, website hotspot, and I'm pretty sure I'll better get a few personal information, some usernames and passwords, maybe phone calls, maybe pictures off you, and I can do that all from my own laptop, just sitting there, minding my own business, having a coffee. My laptop will do that for me. It'll scan the network, it will identify targets. I just say, yeah, those targets, please. And then I'll just say, start the network analysis. And basically, it will start man-in-the-middle attacks and all sorts of things. And I'm still having my coffee, and it's capturing all that data. Shut my laptop, go home, hack your account when I get in at my own time. So don't trust them. Any computer which you borrow could have key logging software on it. It could. So if you go to a coffee shop somewhere, use our computer. You don't know that computer's safe. You're typing stuff in, they could be recording it. Might have malware on it anyway. E-commerce websites. Do not create accounts on e-commerce websites unless you really have to. Because if those websites get compromised, when I'm talking about those 159 billion records, that's from an e-commerce website. They're not looking after your data, so don't give it to them. And be cautious with computer repair companies. Make sure they're recommended. Don't give your computer to anybody who says, oh, I'll fix it, because you don't know what they're going to put on it either. So, again, I'm trying to say, be cautious. It is scary, and there are bad people out there. What can you trust? If you've got a home network, you own it, you secure it, you can trust that. That's going to be pretty good, providing you don't let everybody else or have it open. If you've secured that off, you're pretty safe. Your 3G, 4G connection, you're pretty safe. There are ways of hacking that, but that's a separate talk. Your bank, trust that. Consider a VPN service. If you have software, you can have a VPN software. You can buy it fairly cheaply, and it will secure your encryption no matter what goes on. Others need to earn trust, like your suppliers. ICE. So get to know Kipu. If you like us, let us look after you. Now I'm going to whiz through a bit of this because we've done it on the video anyway, but just trying to tell people, you know, look out. If the from address doesn't look right, check your emails. Don't just click and open them. We had one yesterday. Funnily enough, I had released it via our security system. Matt, my sales director, because it's big order, click, you know, luckily it had been checked and scanned first, but salespeople, they just want to open something, you know, so I've got a big risk in my own company by salespeople. So look it, check it, be careful. If you've got an unknown sender and they're sending you an attachment, there's something wrong there normally. If you don't know them, why are they sending you something? Unless you've asked for it, check it, be cautious. Lots of things, and we'll make this presentation available to you, but just look at everything on there. Generic names, if it doesn't say your name, it's probably wrong. Look at the link, you know, that's been sent. Is that really your university sending, or your library sending you that link? Probably not. What we did at Kipu, so I'm going to fly through a couple of these, pick up the one. So we do testing ourselves. Let me get to it. So here, this is an email from me, and this is actually a valid look and feel for an email from me, to be fair. It's hard to read, so I will expand, but basically it's an email to staff saying we've got a new HR system, and click on this link to get to our new Sage HR system. Well, number one, we don't have a new HR system. We wouldn't have just sent it and fired it out through that. So pretty much, is it a phishing or real email? Well, it was a phishing email for a number of reasons. The email was spelt wrong. The Kipu networks are spelt wrong. There's a spelling mistake. If we hovered over this thing called Server Cloud 24, was the website we're trying to get us to when we're at kipunetworks.com. Things to be cautious of. Also down here, you can't see, but that they put a proper JPEG attachment onto it, so it wasn't a real email signature from me. Think you found a phishing email? Well, a prize question now. This is for a prize that we have. How observant do you think you are today since I've been talking? Pretty observant? Maybe tired because it's early morning. So, Did you notice anything strange in the photographs of Matt that I've been putting on this screen? About 3 of them I think I put up. Anything strange? What is missing from this picture against all the other pictures I showed up on that screen? Sorry, who did that? Absolutely. That thing there. It's a rabbit. Well done, sir. You've won that. It's just a point that I was going through because I kept throwing those pictures up there and I was hoping somebody say, why does he keep putting Matt up there? And what the hell's that in his hand? Yeah. Well, it's a rabbit. It's a long story to rabbit, but yeah. So a prize is going to go for you. Can I take your name? Sorry. Charles. Jade will get that, and Jade will come down and sort you out a prize. Thank you very much. You're very observant. Top man. So don't reply to emails. Delete them. If you think it's a phishing email, do not click on web links. Do not click there. It's risky if you click there. As I said, I can already hack you without you even entering details. Contact the company who claims to come from, but use their direct information you find off their real website, not what you find on that email. Do not open attachments. Never give personal details out on an unsafe website. Check things like yahoo.com. It has yahoo.com on the bottom of it. Make sure that really exists if you're going to Yahoo, because people make all sorts of stories up for you. If you do, this is our own policy at Kipu. If people do click a link, because we have all these systems, but emails are still going to get through. We tell them not to do it. We train them, but I had one the other day, staff member, argument of a daughter, on the phone, couldn't be bothered to read the email, click. Luckily, it came from us, so we knew it clicked. But so we need to know, and if any, you need to not tell people off. You need to ask them: did you click on it? Did you open it? Because you need to know what they did to how you're going to then protect yourself. So you want them to be honest to you, so you don't want to scare them off. And the sender details. And once we know that, we can start blocking it, fixing it, and looking at what that problem is. And sadly, no matter how hard we try, things will always get through to you. And this is why we need to be aware of the threats and how to fix it. So there you go. You are the first and the last line of defense. Do's and don'ts. Final email, actually. Inspect all your emails. Contact the company. Make sure it's sure. HTTPS. You're pretty safe on HTTPS, although hackers do use it. A lot of them don't. Delete the email and have different login credentials for each website. Never reply, never click on the emails if you're not sure, and never enter your credentials in. So that's me. Hopefully it's been useful. Hopefully it wasn't so boring, and I'd like to thank you for your time today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. I think we're all going to go back and take a strong look at what we use as passwords for all our different sites. Thank you again.
I'm talking to you. Stop talking. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mark Weber. He's here to tell us about the central application system that will be implemented for all public universities.